and it's just me and Alonso now. Thank you, Nick, for your cinematography skills.
If this is your first time, welcome to Breakfast All Day. It's the new, what the flick? Is that what we're going to call it, I guess? Anyway, what the flick is over, but Breakfast All Day is what's happening now, and we have one phone as opposed to a crew of camera people, so this is what it's going to look like for a while.
At my dining room table. Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome. We're having some tea and technical difficulties here. Matt was here for a bit. We did a whole best of, worst of thing. Matt was here for a while, but had to take off because he has a real job.
Yes, the YouTube video cut off because I didn't know to put it on airplane mode, but if you want the entire conversation, you can catch it on the podcast part. And so we're carrying on with one of the last movies of 2018 and one of the first movies of 2019. We've each seen one of them.
Why don't you go first?
Fine. So Holmes and Watson is, Will Ferrell reteaming with Etan Cohen, the director of Get Hard.
Get Hard, which has been in the news lately because of Kevin Hart, which we're also going to talk about.
Indeed. So that was perhaps not the greatest idea to go with. Anyway, it is a wacky version of Sherlock Holmes and Watson as played by Ferrell and John C. Reilly, and it's never funny.
So here's my question: is part of it that we've had such an oversaturation of various incarnations of Sherlock Holmes that like any novelty that might have saved this is just gone?
That's part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in my review on TheWrap, I talked about how in the past few years between like Benedict Cumberbatch and Robert Downey Jr. and even like the Jude Law TV show, like there've been all these sort of, not just like versions of Holmes, but sort of permutations and modernizations and tweaking and whatnot.
Which mic are you?
I'm on 2. I potted down 3
thank you.
because I switched over to Matt's mic.
Thank you. Sorry.
Not to worry.
Oh yeah, it is Matt's mic. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's one of those things where you can, you start watching these movies like a diagram, and you're like, okay, that's a joke. A joke is being, and it's not. Like you can tell that there's a stab at humor, and there's like, oh, they think this is gonna kill, and you just one after another, just these things fall to the ground, and they're just not funny. And like I saw, because they didn't screen it for the press, right. I saw it with regular paying folks, and it was silent as a tomb in there. The closest I got even to a mild chuckle was Rebecca Hall, who plays an MD, who of course they can't fathom the fact that a woman is a doctor, and her notion that basically sort of 19th century science is as modern as anything's ever going to get. So everything's about electroshock therapy and all these ridiculous things that don't work, and not that there are some still clinical uses for electroshock therapy, but not in the way that they do in this movie.
So it's meant to be like a satire, like, ooh, women can't be doctors, and it's meant to like make fun of misogyny for the ridiculousness of it?
Yeah, it's meant, they're supposed to be like, ridiculous men for not wrapping their heads around it, but it's just not funny.
I wonder how much of it was just they were relying on Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly to show up and just be Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
I don't doubt it. This has all the earmarks of the sort of lazy modern comedy of like, it doesn't matter if we're going to have a script. They're going to make magic happen on the set, and they did not. And along the way managed to waste the talents of like Ralph Fiennes, who plays Professor Moriarty, and Kelly MacDonald, who plays the Mrs. I forget her name, the housekeeper, and even like there's a moment where we meet Mycroft Holmes, and he's played by Hugh Laurie.
Oh wow,
and
that's an amazing cast.
Yeah, and all it made me think of was the fact that Mycroft Holmes, as played by Hugh Laurie's old comedy partner Stephen Fry, was the best thing about the second Robert Downey Sherlock Holmes movie.
I have blanked all of those from my mind. I just recall that they were like noisy and frenetic.
I had to go pull up the review to remember it. But yeah, so anyway, Holmes and Watson is a total waste of time, and almost, it got like a low cinema score. The reviews have been terrible. It's not even just like, oh, I'm a snotty person who doesn't enjoy comedy. No, this is just terrible. And it's capping off a great year for John C. Reilly, who in The Sisters Brothers and Stan and Ollie, I think gives like 2 of the year's most solid performances.
Right, and I know you're not as in love with the Wreck-It Ralph sequel as Matt and I are, but he's really good in that.
Sure,
he has to
absolutely.
find a wide range within that vocal performance, so I think he's quite lovely there. Did you happen to watch on New Year's Day the Rose Parade coverage with Cord and Tish?
No, I missed it this time.
See, and I love the idea of that. It's Will Ferrell and Molly Shannon, and they're doing like,
I saw it last year.
It's like a fake Rose Parade commentator team, and they're just
But they go to the actual Rose Parade.
They go there, and it's a whole, like, they've created an infrastructure for them. Like, there's their entire Twitter handles and hashtags, and they're making it seem like it's a real thing. And it's the two of them just being like vapid, idiotic commentators. And I love the idea of that. And we watched it for a bit, Chris and I did, and we're like, I'm not laughing yet. Are you? Like,
yeah.
The execution, and maybe that's what happened here as well. Like, you expect Will Ferrell to just show up and be Will Ferrell, but maybe you need a little more structure than that.
Yeah, the Cord and Tish stuff, like, it reminds me of, did you see A Deadly Adoption?
I know what it is, yes.
The Lifetime movie that Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig did, where it was just, the joke was how much exactly like a Lifetime movie it was. Cord and Tish are so believable as just crappy local anchor types that they aren't all that funny.
It's too dead on.
Yeah, you know, like I watched the Rose Parade last year. I even watched when they covered the royal wedding.
Oh, right.
And it was just kind of like, I get what you're going for here. And yeah, Holmes and Watson, there were moments where like, okay, I get what you're going for here, but it's not working. And then other times it was like, I get what you're going for here, and that's stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big letdown.
I wonder if they can feel it. I wonder, like, when you're on set and it's just death, I wonder if that creeping sense of dread comes in, or are you so convinced of what you're doing during the doing of it that you're pumped and it's going to be awesome?
I mean, comedy is so hard that way, and I bet like another editor could maybe even go through that footage and
salvage,
squeeze something out of it. But who knows? It's hard to say. But it doesn't work.
What's your number?
Oh, I think I gave it a 0.5 or something. I'd have to look it up on.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
You didn't laugh at all.
No.
Like, not a single time.
Oh, like I said, mild chuckles for Rebecca Hall. That was it.
It's like Happy Time Murders, which was on both of our worst of lists. Like, we laughed a couple times. Like, there's one joke in particular in Happy Time Murders that I recall very vividly because I was like, yay, laughter! but it sounds like that's not even happening so much here.
No, not at all. And I talk about Escape Room because that looks actually kind of fun.
Escape Room's really actually pretty cool. So this was the first screening of 2019 on January 2nd. I went and saw Escape Room on the Sony lot, and I feel like a lot of us probably walked in with the expectation of, oh God, it's the first movie back. It's the first, and it just is, it's just dumping ground time. It just does not bode well. We're all caught up in preparations for awards shows, and people are, and the regular folks who see movies out there are getting caught up with whatever looks good. And
yeah, like stuff that only opened in New York and LA is now going to be making its way out to the rest of the country.
So Escape Room is shockingly fun though. So it is the kind of premise we have seen in a lot of different horror movies where a bunch of disparate types are thrown together and they've got to figure out a way to survive. And here it is, it's in Chicago, and there's maybe 6-8 people, and they don't know each other, but they've all received a very mysterious invitation to take part in this escape room. And they each get this very ornate box that's very hard to open, but once you figure out how to open it, you get instructions to go to this place. And so you have a woman who is an Iraq war veteran, and you have a guy who is a total expert on escape rooms and has done a million of them and knows all the rules, and like he's pumped for this one because this one seems really real. There's a young woman who's a college student who is very shy but clearly brilliant and really good with puzzles, and so she is there. And so you have all these different types, and they get thrown together, and pretty quickly they realize that their lives are actually in danger. This is not just a very elaborate...
The game has become real.
Yes. And I mean, from the very beginning, there's so much thought has gone into the details and the rules and the underlying gimmick, which they find out in time, is that they've all been picked for a reason. This is not a spoiler. They're not random people.
You don't say.
Yeah, they've all been picked for a reason, and the game is tailored to who they are. I would say that the ultimate reveal of what is happening here is not as interesting as just being with them every step of the way. You do watch them reveal themselves and have to work together. It's kind of like, it goes back to Survivor 20 years ago when Survivor was interesting. It was still novel, the reality show Survivor.
Did you see Cube?
I don't think I did. What was Cube?
Cube, I thought about it when I was reading the plot synopsis, and then Bibbs mentioned it in his review. Cube was a 1997 Canadian film about, again, these people who were sort of thrown together in this in this room, in this cube, and have to figure out like how to escape from it. This is before the whole sort of escape room phenomenon. But that's the same. It's the same deal. Like seemingly random strangers, but not.
Right.
And you each has their own specific set of skills that comes to bear in how they get out of the situation.
Yes, Adam Robitel directed this, who did
Insidious: The Last
the
Key,
most recent Insidious from last year.
which was the first film of 2018.
Yeah, this is his sweet spot.
Apparently.
Ignominious first week of January.
What Will Smith used to be for July 4th, this guy is now for the first week of January.
Yeah, and let's see, did he write this too? No, Braggy F. Shoot is he looks. I don't know who he is, but
Okay.
so it is visceral. It is tense. It is very clever over and over again. It moves really well. I'm shocked at how good Escape Room is. So if you want the escape from the
Prestige.
serious, heavy stuff that matters, like if you don't have it in you to go see Capernaum or whatever foreign language movies out there that looks totally depressing or whatever it is, Escape Room is actually shockingly fun.
Not that there's anything wrong with Capernaum. I hear it's very good.
I found it relentlessly bleak.
Oh, okay.
I actually saw it.
Maybe there is something wrong with Capernaum.
Yeah, I didn't really love it. But I want to mention a couple people in the cast. I really like Taylor Russell as the young woman who is the brilliant college student. She is Judy Robinson on Lost in Space. Which I don't know. Did you ever watch Lost in Space? The TV show?
I watched the pilot and I really liked it, and then I haven't circled back to it yet, but I need to.
Okay.
How is Logan Miller from my beloved Take Me to the River?
Oh, right. He is kind of squirrely. And he has the biggest arc, I would say.
Huh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's become his wheelhouse. He played like he was in A Dog's Life and in Love, Simon, and he's always now he plays a lot of jerks.
He was in Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
Yes, he was.
Who was he in Love, Simon? I don't remember.
He's the one who outs Simon.
Oh, right. He's the jerk.
Yeah.
He's kind of a jerk here too, but he learns.
Okay.
He gets to learn and change. The escape room is actually a crucible that reveals who you actually are or can be or whatever.
Okay.
So I am really shocked at how much fun Escape Room is, and I actually recommend it. I would say like a 7.2.
Woo,
yeah,
okay.
I don't like the ending. Not that it pulls the rug out from under you, but I don't know that I needed that much hand holding. Like the mystery of what's going on here is more interesting than what the truth of it ends up being.
Gotcha.
So so we say don't see Holmes and Watson, but perhaps do see Escape Room.
I'm seeing it this weekend actually because we're talking about Mushaya next week.
There you go. So you get to play catch up with it.
All right. Well, hey, we are BeFast All Day on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and you can drop us a line at befastallDayPod@gmail.com.
And somebody will answer.
I promise. Thank you.
Hey guys, good job.
Thanks, Nick.